version of it on the media and
What's
other
your
places. Hashim.
Hashim, cool.
You are
Maximilian.
Maximilian. Nice name. So Max, what is the question? You had a question earlier?
What is your favorite film?
What's my favorite film? I don't think that was your question earlier.
No, my question is, I guess, I'm curious.
Yeah.
He said what I learned from here.
Yeah, what was he
Like-
shouting about?
No, because this is the first time I come here, and I literally just walked over here. I didn't plan to come here.
I know.
So I just walk around and I see people talking to each other.
Yeah.
But I think they're talking at each other and they're not listening. And I'm curious. My first question is,
I hope we are talking to each other.
I think we're with each other.
That's good, yeah, that's good. That's what we want. There's no point talking over each other or past each other.
So my first question is, does everyone come here with an agenda, or do people experience something new and grow? Do you find yourself growing as a human being here?
Yeah,
What do you learn about humanity?
Definitely. Like every person who comes here and who has a discussion, we understand their point of view, and we hope we try to make them understand our point of view without imposing it, without any coercion. So we want them, like I said, to know the truth about Islam, what Islam really is about, and we want to show also at the same time and understand what they believe. Like if I'm talking to an atheist or an agnostic or a Christian or even a Hindu, I want to know what's their perspective and where we can have some commonality between us and then build on that, inshallah, which is God willing. So what is your background? I don't know. I said I'm a Muslim. What is your background?
I'm a human on this planet.
I hope so.
I hope I'm a human.
I'll be very worried if I'm talking to someone other than a human now.
I'm an actor.
Interesting. Anyone I know? Famous? I don't know.
I was in a Bollywood film, actually.
Which one?
It's called 83. It's a cricket film.
Okay, what's it called?
83.
83.
Yeah. So no, my background is I'm an actor. And my objective is to live life as fully as possible.
Okay.
Beyond that,
what does that mean to you? Live life to its full potential.
I think that means curiosity, exploration, meeting people. Like, I think if being curious is about being open to change, and I try not to have any firm beliefs, so I allow myself to pick up new stuff.
Interesting. So have you asked yourself like any philosophical questions that you don't have an answer for yet?
Any philosophical questions? I don't think so. I try to read quite widely, I guess.
Okay. So if I were to ask you, I mean, in brief, tell me what you think is the purpose of your existence.
The purpose of
quite
existence.
philosophical, I guess. Purpose of life.
If I was skeptical, I'm not necessarily am. I would say there is no purpose. But I think our purpose is to live, is to create, to find joy as human beings. I think that's what our purpose is.
So how does it differ from, say, the animal world? They want to live, they want to procreate. I'm sure they want to be happy as well. Yeah, so how do we differ from the animal world? As humans, I mean, surely we are not the same, are we?
Well, I don't think it's good to differentiate between us and animals too much, because that's a bit egotistical.
I hope you don't treat your kids like animals.
No. But I try to treat animals with equal respect, because I'm a vegan. I don't believe in eating or killing animals.
No, but that doesn't mean, when you say respect, I mean, I don't know what you mean by that, but you do not hold them to the same standards as human beings do. Have you got pets?
No.
You don't?
No.
Okay, let's say you found a stray cat. Yeah? Would you treat it the same way as you would treat, say you found a child wandering around by himself or herself, yeah? Would you treat the child and the stray animal and the stray child the same? Or would you value the child over the animal?
No, I think I have more commonality with human beings.
Is that it? I'm talking in terms of value.
Yeah.
In terms of value, would you see them both the same?
okay, I see your point.
Yeah.
If I see a mosquito or a child, I'm going to value the child more because I have more empathy with them because they're more like me.
Right.
But like your original question was,
That's why I gave the example of a cat or a dog rather than a mosquito, because mosquitoes are more insignificant than these higher.
but are they?
They are.
Why?
They are because. Okay, would you cry over a mosquito dying compared to your cat dying?
It depends.
Have you known anyone who has got pet mosquitoes?
No, I don't.
Exactly.
No.
You see, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Because people give different value to different beings.
Based on whether, this is my point. Like, I think people, they treasure and value things that they consider the most like them. So I think, what's your heritage, your community?
So my background is from India.
So I would think that Indians would have more empathy and love for an Indian before someone from, let's say, South America.
So I'm not comparing humans to humans. That's the reason I asked you about the animal kingdom. Because obviously humans have similar value in my eyes, that all humans are equal.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, how you treat them, you might have certain biases, okay? And that's fair, I think. Yeah. I might like to eat Indian food more than, say, Italian food.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I do. Yeah. I mean, the variety in Indian food is. Come on.
Yeah.
What's the main food of England? Do you know?
That is a very good question. What's the main food of England? Fish and chips, isn't it?
No, it's not. Yeah. You'll be surprised. It's actually Indian.
It's probably Indian. It's probably
yeah, it's not Italian.
No, it's a
Vindaloo maybe.
no, it's a type of curry. It's a classic.
Well, it's
masala, chicken tikka masala.
chicken tikka masala. Yeah.
It's masala.
Yeah, chicken tikka masala. You're right. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So different people give different value. But as far as humans are concerned, I think more or less I think most people would value other human beings equally. But that's the reason I gave you the contrast between the animal world and our world. So just like the animals want to live, they want to procreate, and they want to be happy as well, and one day they will die. So what's the difference between us who have got rationality, who we are able to reason like the way we are doing now, compared to the animal kingdom? Because the animals, they don't have libraries, they don't have civilization. Yes, you once find them building skyscrapers and living in air-conditioned houses and all.
Termites
you see what I mean?
Skyscrapers and live in air-conditioned houses.
Yeah, but to their standard, obviously.
Yeah, but that's still like.
Yeah, I know that is.
Termite
So they want to remain happy as well. That's what I'm saying. But obviously not same level as the human beings.
Okay,
So that's the reason I'm saying when you have a baby and when you have an animal, or let's say, you will not give the same value. So if I were to ask you, there's a sinking boat and you have got only the opportunity to save one other being, and you have got the option between, let's say, a dog and a human child. What would be your choice?
Of course, the human child.
Yeah. See, this is what I mean by value. Okay. So as humans, we value our own species more. Yeah, and that's natural. Okay.
But your question was.
My question was, what was the purpose?
Your question was, what's the difference between animals? And my answer to that.
That was based on your answer. But my original question was, what is the purpose of existence? Yeah.
And do you agree with my answer?
No, I don't. I said.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Yeah. No. I said your answer is no different to what. If animals could talk, they probably say the same thing.
Really?
Yeah. Because they all want to live, they all want to procreate, they all want to be happy. So how do we differ from the animals? That was my question.
Do we need to?
Based on that. Well, we do. I think because we have certain faculties of reasoning which the animals don't.
But that's also a prison, because if you can't answer your own logic, then you'll suffer.
Yeah, but.
And you're assuming we're different to animals.
No. When you say, at least we have the luxury of reasoning.
Yeah.
They don't. Yeah. So for them, it's mostly like. It's basically what they live in their environment, and that's all they have. Yes, we can actually go. So we can have a fridge. We can store our food. Yes, They might not have that luxury. Yes, so we cannot say we are the same as the animals. We are different in a way. So our purpose should also be different because of the extra, faculties of reasoning, the extra, the way we see life, the way we value other life, it's different in different ways. So I think
that's an assumption, though.
how?
Because you're saying that if human beings are different to animals, therefore we must have a different purpose and destiny. Whereas my point is, question one, how do we know we're different, like on an existential level? I think we're more intelligent and we're more creative, but animals are intelligent and animals are also creative.
Can they reason like the way you do?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that just because I'm intelligent and I'm able to make logic and form arguments and ask questions, that doesn't mean I must have a purpose. That's an assumption rather than a fact.
No, I'm saying everything has purpose. I'm not saying animals don't have purpose. I never said that.
So what's the purpose?
So the animals do have purpose. So every animal out there has a purpose. Okay? We have a purpose as well. I mean, every organ in your body has a purpose. Yes? Your eye has a purpose. So why can't we as human beings have a purpose as well?
I don't think we need to. I think you're overthinking life.
No, I'm not. I think we should have an objective in life.
Why?
Okay, when you're acting, yes, it's a project, right?
Yeah.
Your whatever film you're working on is a project. It starts with an objective.
Yeah.
Yes? Either to, let's say, make money, make it a box office hit.
No, your point, I completely agree with.
So what I'm saying, everything has a purpose and an objective. If you're going to live life without...
I think it's not everything has a purpose. I think you're
Name me
saying,
something that doesn't have purpose.
You're saying, I think it helps humans to have a purpose because otherwise they'll get consumed by existential angst and they'll feel no fulfillment in life and they'll suffer. I think we need purpose because we have intellectual faculties and intelligence. A guinea pig doesn't need to have a purpose like Elon Musk does. It doesn't need
exactly.
to build
Their purpose is not the same as yours.
Yeah.
But like you said correctly, everything has purpose.
It helps us with life, but we don't need one. Like we're not born to have a purpose.
No, obviously you're not born with somebody saying, okay, this is your purpose. As you grow older, then you realize that you can't live a life without an objective aimlessly.
I agree.
Yeah? It's like a rudderless boat.
Yeah, I agree.
It will just go aimlessly nowhere. So in order for you to have any meaning to your life, you need a purpose.
So this is what it's about, meaning. Exactly. So what's your purpose in life, genuinely?
So, okay, as a Muslim, I will say that my purpose in life is been given to me in the Quran. So I actually lead my life based on that. So in the Quran, Allah says that you have not been created except for the worship of Allah. Now what does that mean? It doesn't mean I just stand in front of God and just pay adoration to God or go to the mosque and pray 5 times a day and that's it. No. Worship means obedience to God. So there are commands like prohibitions and like the do's and the don'ts in our religion. And this is something that we as Muslims have to abide by. So God has told us our purpose in life. For example, for me to treat my neighbor in a good way, yes, is one of the ways I can worship God because it's obedience to God. So one of the sayings of the Prophet ﷺ is, if anyone who goes to bed with his stomach full and his neighbor is hungry, then he is not from the deen. He's not one of us. So it's kind of good morals mostly. And this is, I think, not only in Islam, in all the religions.
No, it's the human life.
Exactly, yeah.
Because if you don't do that, then... So would you say the greatest purpose is to help other human beings?
Yes, absolutely, yes. So if I've got good news, which helps me, then I must share it with you.
So what good news do you have in your life?
Islam.
But because but what makes you different from this guy or this guy? Like,
so
what's unique? What's unique to you? Like, why do you exist versus this Muslim or that? Like, what inspires you about life? I'm curious.
Individually, we are unique, of course, and we express or we obey God in different ways. But the aim and the objective is the same. That you abide by the do's and the don'ts God has told you, and once you have done that, then you are successful. Okay? So for us, we believe that everyone dies, and I'm sure you believe it as well, that one day we will die. We believe that this life is a test. And as we grow older, we learn that everything has a meaning, everything has a purpose, and we have a purpose. So this life, which is a test, this is going to end one day. And after we die, there's going to be an eternal life. And that is a real life that we should work towards. And how do we work towards that? By being good in this life, yes, and by obeying God. Okay, and so for example, I don't know if you're an agnostic or atheist, I don't know where you stand, but you also believe that you're going to die one day. Have you ever given thought to after you die, what's going to happen? Do you believe in life after death? Or given any thought to it?
Of course, I remain curious. Yeah, I figured just live the best life, be kind, try and leave the world in a better state.
But how do you define that? How do you define, for example, good and evil, good and bad can be subjective, right? What might be good for you might not be good for someone else. Or what might be bad or evil for you might be good for someone else.
Yeah.
So how do you get around that problem?
I think
between what is subjective and what is objective.
I think human beings have a natural compass of morality. Based on their conditioning, they'll be able to tell what's good and bad. I think evil is a total absence of morality, and good is being loving. And I think if you treat other human beings with a loving, open heart, as much as possible, rather than being in your own world with your egocentric universe, then no matter whether you're a Muslim or a Hindu or a Buddhist or a Muslim, or an agnostic, I think that's enough.
No, but there will be conflicts, right? For example, I'll give an example. Many people think that drinking is good. They feel happy.
Yeah.
Yes? I, as a Muslim, say no, it's bad for you.
Yeah.
Okay, not only for your health, for your mind, and it's also bad for some other person that you might harm because of your drinking. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So how do you get around those conflicts, things like that?
I don't know. I think non-judgment is a good place to start, to replace curiosity, judgment with curiosity. I think drinking is one example, but there are other forms of addiction, like sex, work, smoking, sugar,
drugs,
breakfast cereal. I'm addicted to Cocoa Pops.
Yeah.
It's
look, we have to be realistic. Eating Cocoa Pops, okay, sugar, I think,
Yeah.
Bad for you sometimes.
Yeah.
Depending if you got diabetes, very bad for you then.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is something again subjective, isn't it? For some people, Cocoa Pops might be good, for others it's not. For some people, alcohol is good based on their own judgment. Yes, whether they consider you to be judgmental or not, that's not what we're talking about. We are talking about the objective truth. So there has been.
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
I think with all these things, even if you don't drink alcohol, Muslims, any form of behavior where you do something to run away from contact with yourself, a form of escape is addiction. Like gambling,
I agree.
All these things.
Yeah.
So I don't think the example.
But is that good or bad? That's the question.
I don't think you need to label it.
Why not?
Because
if it harms your body, if it harms you as an individual, if it harms your family, why is that not bad? Because to me, anyone who harms, like you said earlier, as long as they are loving and all that, that's fine. But then you have to look at the harm factor. Is there any harm in there as well?
Well, if you do harm to yourself or you do harm to other people, then I would say it's not good.
Yeah.
So I would agree. We've agreed.
So anyone who drinks alcohol is capable of that, right? The harm.
Is anyone?
I'm not saying everyone, obviously, but I'm saying because you're already not only becoming addicted. I don't think everyone who drinks alcohol is addicted to it.
No.
But when they are drunk, yes, then the state of mind is not the same as when they are sober.
But a human, when they're angry, is not in the state of mind when they're relaxed.
I totally agree.
So it's
that's why I'm not going to treat every emotion the same.
Yeah.
Okay? So when you talk about love, okay, a person who is drunk can be loving.
Yeah.
But he can also be harmful while driving and potentially taking the life of someone completely innocent. Maybe someone who doesn't drink alcohol like me,
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, why does someone need to drink alcohol first and foremost if they know the harmful effects of it?
That's a good question. Why would someone, let's take a YouTuber for example, if you want to have a successful YouTube career, you need to work for 5 years hustling, you need to produce a video maybe 3 times a week. The amount of ambition and work and drive you need to have, it destroys your body, it isolates you.
Are you a YouTuber?
No, I'm not. But
how would you know?
No, but I've talked to them.
I'm a bit of a YouTuber. I've got my channel called sfdawah.channel.
My point is that you use alcohol, assume because it's forbidden in the Quran, but my point is that there are other things which human beings do day to day, which do damage to us. Like
Look,
that aren't just as extreme.
Look, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
But anyone who damages or harms themselves or other people, then yes, I would say don't do that. So anything you do for example, if you're going to become some sort of I don't know what kind of YouTube we're talking about, but if they are going to extreme lengths where they neglect themselves and their own families, then that's wrong.
I agree.
Okay, eating too much sugar is wrong. I agree. Eating too much fat is wrong. All these things, if you do it in, like if you go beyond moderation, then that is bad. But I don't know if you're aware that recently there has been study on the harmful effects of alcohol, and they have come to a conclusion. This was a huge study over 5 or 6 years, and this was published in a medical journal called The Lancet. Yes, so it's peer-reviewed and quite serious study. And they said even that no amount of alcohol is good. That was their conclusion. So this is an objective study. So it's not just on my feeling or your feeling or some subjective understanding of an individual. It is an objective study through scientific methods. Yes, and this is a conclusion they came to. And this is exactly what the Quran says. The Quran says that there might be some good in it, but the harm outweighs the good. Yes? So the way the Quran actually prohibited alcohol was in stages. So at first this was the command that there is some good in it, but the harm outweighs the good. Second is Allah says not to come to prayer while you're drunk, while you're in a state of intoxication.
The Muslims do that?
Well, before it became prohibited, they used to drink. So alcohol wasn't always like prohibited. It became prohibited during the time of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, because the revelation of the Quran came over several years. It wasn't in one go, over a period of 23 years. So just like anyone who wants to wean away the intoxicants from the intoxicating habits like drugs or alcohol, they don't go cold turkey overnight. So they wean them off gradually. Similarly, this is the the hikmah, the wisdom in the Quran, that it was gradually prohibited rather than in one go. I mean, Allah could have said from tonight no drinking, that's it. But with the wisdom of Allah and the way it was prohibited was in stages. And the last stage, so first there's some good in it, but the harm outweighs the good. Second, don't come near prayers. And the third, stop drinking alcohol is prohibited. So that was the final stage. And after that, then they stopped drinking. I'm not saying there are no Muslims out there who don't drink. Of course, there will be obedience and there will be disobedience as well. But our aim in life is to be as obedient as possible. Because look, everything in the Quran that has been prohibited, it is something which impacts you individually or your family or your community as a whole.
What other things would you say to people who don't know very much about Islam that are prohibited? That
very good question.
People don't know about. So drinking's one.
Drinking, gambling, adultery, fornication, oppression.
Fornication?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Anything extramarital.
Oh, okay.
So if you're not married, you're not allowed to. You're
married?
I'm married. Alhamdulillah. So, fornication, adultery, prohibitions like unjust wars, oppression. What else?
Can I ask you a question?
So all these things are bad for you, basically. I'm sure you won't object to any of this being prohibited, right? This is something what all human beings with their moral compass would say is wrong.
Can you go through them again?
Okay. Alcohol, gambling, adultery, fornication. Interest usually,
Interest?
Yeah.
What do you mean, interest?
Like the banks charging you interest.
I definitely agree with that. Can that be prohibited?
Alhamdulillah. Yes. Oppression, unjust wars, all these things.
I mean...
Which one would you say should not be prohibited from this list? By the way, this is only a subset. There's lots more.
Okay. The interest from the banks, I believe that should be prohibited.
No, I asked you which should not be prohibited from this list.
Which should not be prohibited? I don't think you should prohibit any of them.
So you shouldn't prohibit
any of them.
But you did agree with usury, with interest.
I agree with that one, but the other ones, I think there's something. If you were to say,
are you married, by the way?
No.
So you don't have children?
No.
Okay. If you were married and you had children, would you allow them to drink?
There'd be occasions where I would think that was appropriate based on my culture and upbringing.
Okay, why only occasionally?
Because a child's not responsible enough, and it could lead to a slippery slope. But for example, like,
to me, a 17-year-old is a child. I mean, based on the NHS definition.
would you let a 17-year-old?
I wouldn't let anyone, not even you. So my child was as old as you.
Yeah.
Yes, then I wouldn't let it either.
What about smoking?
Same thing again. It harms your
Are
body.
Muslims allowed to smoke?
No, actually, anything that harms your body is prohibited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so
But I'm not saying Muslims don't smoke.
no.
Like I said, they can disobey because they are free will.
I'm curious about like why people drink alcohol, for example, and I think have you asked yourself why people drink alcohol?
Actually,
Like,
that was
different tribes and
that was the
societies.
reason for me to ask that
But
question
what's
to
your,
you.
What's your answer? Why do you think people like everyone
think
does something for a reason?
you
Do
know,
you know why?
You know, human tendency is if you prohibit them from something, they'll do it. They would want to do it.
Yeah.
That's human nature, you know.
Yeah.
So, for example, even though they know it harms you, it harms your body. I don't know. There's some intrinsic nature that we have that sinning is easy, to abide by the laws is difficult. When I say sinning, I mean going against or being disobedient is easier. And also tendency. Same thing with children, you know. They would, if there was no one watching them, then they would do or disobey, they would do the wrong. For example, why do we have traffic speeding cameras? Yeah? Because if they were not there, people will speed.
But
if they were there, then they would less likely speed. Not that it'll completely stop people speeding. So who cares? You know, if they're rich, they'll pay lots of tickets, maybe.
But in Germany, they don't have a speed limit.
I think they do now. They do now, yeah.
Oh, really?
They changed the...
Oh, they've finally changed that. That's disappointing.
So this is something like, look, even in Germany, I think it's only the Autobahn which didn't have it. The other places, they had speeding limits. So it's only certain places. And like I said, this is human nature. If someone is not observing you, someone is not watching over you, then they will most likely commit offenses, most likely commit crimes, most likely sin. And that is the reason, this is what religion does to you. You voluntarily...
I don't know if I agree with your statement.
Which one? That I think
if you're unobserved, you're more likely to do the wrong thing.
They did studies on this, you know.
Really?
They actually experimented on this.
But my experience, regardless of your research, or I guess my own experience, is that
you never stole cookies from from your mom when you were young.
She didn't. She made her
chocolates.
Her cookies are really bad.
Oh dear.
No,
I hope she's not watching.
No, I think there's something like...
Is there anything that you did when you were a child which you were not supposed to? Especially when your parents were not watching.
Yeah, I would say stealing sweets from the sweet shop, like one or two here or there.
Not shop, from your home.
Oh.
Like,
I'm sure, of course.
Okay, so let's ask yourself that question. Based on your own experience, would you have done that if your parents were observing you?
No.
So there you go. So this is what it is. It's human nature to do things wrong naturally unless someone was observing them.
I don't know if it's human nature.
It is.
No, it's a choice. Because, for example, now as an adult, there are situations where I'm in this as an adult. There's no one looking around. For example, I found someone's wallet the other day.
Yeah.
There was £40 in it. Or a girl I'm dating, she left a wallet of mine, there's £50 in it.
Yeah.
They're not going to notice if I take it away. So there's something beautiful about life that I have the choice. I'm faced with a moral decision rather than like obedience. I have to. Like every single moment, I'm given a choice. The same with alcohol. The other day I played poker.
Oh dear.
And but it was kind of useful because we had a friend who's Muslim who came, and we couldn't play with money, so we played.
Okay, so that's not gambling then. If it's not with money.
No. We just played with chips.
Yeah, that's different. So gambling obviously is another form of addiction people have, and it destroys families. Yeah, alcohol does the same thing. It destroys families. Many of the divorces, go to the divorce lawyers. They love people who drink alcohol because it brings a lot of revenue for them. And the same thing with the government. Yes, they charge a lot of taxes on your drinks. So they are making a lot of money. That's the reason they portray these advertisements all the time on television and newspapers. Because they know it is harmful for the public, but because they're getting revenue from it, they are making the most of it. But when Christmas comes, don't drink and drive. And within a few minutes, they show you an advertisement for champagne or for beer or something like that. So this is the hypocrisy or the double standards of our communities and our governments that I'm trying to tell you.
No,
Okay?
I agree with you. I just don't think a hard ban would work, because like prohibition in America, that was a disaster.
That's because, like I said, they went about in the wrong way. Yeah, it was, like I said, the cold turkey method.
Like, can I give you another example? Like most of our
What do you think of the scientists' study, which I mentioned about the one that's in the Lancet?
I'm not at all surprised. There have been this isn't new news to.
No, but before they used to say that little drink is good for your heart, stuff like that.
I've always known since I was like the youngest I can remember that alcohol
is bad.
Because it's effectively in doses, it's poisonous. But like I kind of think that, you know, if you take away my choice in the matter, like one of the things that I love about life is that I'm faced with a choice so many times of whether to do good or bad. I don't need to be a Christian or a Muslim to do that.
No, you don't need to. I totally agree. You don't need to be religious to have a good moral compass, good moral judgment. But then it again boils down to what is good and what is bad based on whose definition is good or bad. See what I mean? Because everyone can have subjective opinions.
I really agree with yours.
Yeah. And that's the reason I'm saying we need an authority. Like in my case, I believe that it cannot be human. It has to be your creator. It has to be God, who has the ultimate, jurisdiction to decide or to tell you what is good and what is not.
I don't agree with your logic.
Why?
Because you're saying that.
Who should decide that according to you?
What?
Prohibitions, and because every law has certain prohibitions. For example, if you had your license, you cannot just drive the way you want. Oh, I feel happy at 80 miles an hour. You can't do that. If the speeding limit is 30, then you go on 30, or you get fined. So every law has certain prohibitions, which you cannot cross the boundary, and if you do, you get penalized.
But I don't think you saying that for laws to